Hi, this is Lisa from Lisa's Sewing Shop. Today we are working on a hunting coat. It belongs to a young man from our community that wears it for deer hunting and a few other sports that he likes. The coat is in pretty good shape, but the zipper broke. So we are going to look at that today and see how we can put the new zipper back in there. So I'm going to pause the camera for a minute and relocate it so you can see what I'm working on. So here's what we have to work with. This is a Carhartt coat. It's made very well, very heavy duty, insulated well. And we have a replacement zipper for this coat. What we need to do is insert it in here. Well, what we did to start with was right here where these openings are, we took the old broken zipper out. Used our seam ripper, went up and down the rows, very carefully took that out, made sure we didn't snag any of the fabric. So this new zipper that we're working with is actually brass, extra heavy duty. It needs to go back in where the old zipper was located. So for example, and I'm just holding this with my fingers to give you an idea, I'm putting that right behind that fabric, right where it was on the original zipper. I hope you can see that. And what I'm going to do is put a few pins in here just to kind of hold it in place. And when we come back in here with the sewing machine, we're going to top stitch right down the edge to hold that right in place. When we top stitch that, it's going to go through the top part, the outside edge of the coat, the zipper, and the protective flap that is on the inside. So I'm going to get everything set up, get this pinned in place. And all right, now I have this side pinned all the way in, except for right up here by the neck. And I wanted to show you what I normally do to get this in. As you can see, most zippers are a little bit too long. I think they kind of do that so you can adjust them to the size of your garment. So here's what I do. I take my old scissors, not my good fabric shears, and I know that I want part of this cut off so that I can put it and stuff it back in here where the lining is. So what I do is I fold this kind of like in an L shape, and then I come over here and I cut where these teeth are, right between the teeth, and I give myself about 1 inch of extra space to tuck back in. This I just throw away. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm going to fold this in the L shape. I'm going to stick that back in there. And then I'm going to make this come up right to the edge of where the zipper comes up to the neck. And I'm going to put my last pin in there. Let me get one more out here. Let's see here. Did I get it? I think I'm hitting a brass tooth. Hold on just a second. Let me get another one. I bent that one. And it does happen. If you hit some of these brass teeth, it will bend your pins. Nothing you can do about it. Just throw it away and get another one. Let's go back in here. There we go. I got all the fabric. So now that is all put together. This will zip up, let me get my hands out of your way so you can see it, to right there. Right here next to the neck. So I hope you can see that. So one side is pinned in, fit correctly to the top, and now we're ready to pin the other side in. So I'll be back with you in a minute. I've started to pin going up the other side, but I wanted to show you this part first. This one takes a minute because you've got to make sure the bottom of this is level, both sides of the coat, because see, the zipper bottom is up in there about 3/8 of an inch. So you've got to make sure that's even on both sides. You can't have this side up here and this side down here. Then your zipper won't fasten evenly as you zip it up. So make sure when you're putting the bottom of your zipper in both sides that this is all even. Double check it. Make sure you've got that all lined up. I'll see you in just a minute. All right, so I have both sides pinned in. I think you can see my pins. I think you can see the heavy-duty zipper. I have both of them trimmed off and tucked under at a 90-degree angle. That's the part I cut off. Don't forget, use your old scissors when you cut this. You don't want to ruin your good fabric shears. These brass teeth and this heavy canvas will mess up your fabric shears. So use your old ones. So now we have this ready to go. So on this side, which if he were wearing this, this will be the left side. We will top stitch right up next to the edge of the fold of the fabric, and it will go through and catch both sides. Over here, we will sew right next to the fold on this. It will go through this. It will go through the zipper, and it will go through the protective flap on the back. When we're done with that, to make it look like it did originally, we'll add a second row of top stitching 1/4 of an inch over towards the body of the jacket. Now I'm going to be using my heavy duty machine today. It is an HD9 Janome. It is for super heavy duty sewing because this Carhartt material is super thick. Plus we're going through a very heavy duty zipper. We want to make sure that we can go through all of this fabric and not have problems. So I'm going to get my heavy duty machine set up. I'm going to move my camera and my lights over so you can see what I'm doing. And then I'll show you how we sew this. See you in a minute. All right, so this is my HD9 heavy duty Janome. It is for industrial sewing, for very heavy, thick things that you've got to go through. It is much more powerful. It doesn't do all the fancy stitches, but it does hold up on all the heavy-duty work clothes that I work on every day. So today I have the zipper foot put on here, and this zipper foot has a little screw here on the back that you can tighten or untighten, and this zipper foot will go so you can slide it and work on either side, whichever one is most comfortable while you're sewing in your zipper. So I'm got this on the right side for today based on what I'm sewing right now. I may change that later, but for right now, that's what we're doing. And I'm going to put what would be the left side of his coat if he were wearing it, had it on. I'm going to put that in here. I'm going to put my needle so it will come down into the fabric about 1/8 of an inch away from the folded edge right here of the coat where the zipper's going back in. So we'll push this down. Let me get the presser foot down. And let's get this started. Yes, we do a back stitch just like we do on all of our sewing. Now this is so thick, I'm going to take my pins out today. I'm not going to sew over them simply because I don't want to break. I've got heavy duty needle in here. It's a 19 gauge. I don't want to break my needle, and I don't want to have problems going through all these layers of fabric. Now right here, I'm getting ready to go over the seam, which has about 6 layers of fabric in that seam, plus the backing, plus the zipper. So you be cautious. You hear it working hard. That's what it's supposed to do. Now let me get this straightened back up here. Here we go. Now notice I'm not going very fast. That's because, again, I don't want to break anything. And I'm trying to make sure everything stays lined up. I have the backing piece back here, plus the zipper, plus the front fabric. I want that all to stay lined up. If you're not sure, do what I'm doing right now. I'm double checking on the back to make sure everything's in line. Okay, now, this is like the top of the pocket area. Again, it's going to be a very thick, heavy-duty fold of fabric. So I'm going to use caution there, but try to make sure I get through everything. Okay, here's the seam. Let me take my pin out. We don't need to have any problems there. There we go. That went right through it. Good. Great. Let me move my coat up here a little bit more. Let me double check my underneath and my top. I want to make sure they're all still lined up. Take another pin out. Keep going. I'm going to double check, make sure I'm lined up still. Okay, we're getting very close up here around the neck. I'm going to try to keep this down where you can see. I'm going to take one pin out. We're going to have to do just a little bit of space at a time because we don't want to hit that brass, where the brass teeth are over here. Okay, now, this is the part right here that I folded that zipper in a 90-degree angle and I tucked it back into where the lining was. So when I go over this, I've got to be really careful, and you're going to have to just go slow and give your machine time because we're actually going to be sewing in the middle of two of those brass teeth. I don't know if you saw that just jump over. It just touched one of those brass teeth, moved slightly over to my left. See, it just did it again. It's working its way through those teeth. Okay, now that's the top of the neck. So now we're going to go backwards just 3 stitches because we don't want to get into those teeth again. Now back forward again. Very good. Now we're going to cut our thread, lift our presser foot. There we go. Now, look at that. That's pretty good. I hope you can see that all on there. It caught the back and it caught the front. So I sewed both the back and the front at the same time. See that? Now I'm going to do a little bit of reinforcement stitching right up here around the neck because we want to make sure that holds really well while he's wearing his coat. So I'm going to try to turn it sideways a little bit here and try not to get stabbed with pins that are down there. And the neckline goes in a curve right here. So I'm going to go about a little less than 1/4 of an inch below the neck seam. And I can feel my zipper pieces right there. So I'm going to try to keep my needle away from those zipper pieces. So I'm going to go forward about 1 inch. Now I'm going to go backward about 1 inch, right on top of where I just sewed. Now you're going to think I'm crazy, but I'm going to go forward again. That will reinforce that up around the neck 3 times. Okay, now let's cut our thread, lift the presser foot, and I think you can see, I've got to trim my threads, but you can see where I reinforced that right there because I wanted to make sure that held up while he's wearing his coat. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Then I'm going to come back. You can see where I've sewed this once. We're going to come over a little less than 1/4 of an inch and we're going to top stitch that again just to give it another level of reinforcing to hold everything together. And I'm going to do the same thing on both sides and then I'll be back with you. Okay, so now that I'm ready to do what would be his right side of his coat, I now have to move my zipper foot to the other side because this will get on top of that coil zipper, which is what we don't want it to do. So I've moved it to the left side of the zipper foot now. And this is so that we can sew the right side of his coat. So I'm going to get this little tab of the zipper up here out of the way. And when it gets in my way again, I'll move it again. We are again going to go through this right here, 1/8 inch away from the folded edge. It's going to go through the top fabric, the zipper, and this bottom protective piece of fabric that is under the zipper. So we're going to go through all of those. So let me get this started here. Presser foot down. Yes, we're going to back stitch a little more than we normally do. If I can get this to go under there. There we go. And I'll go back again. At the bottom of the zipper, there's a very tough, like, vinyl coating on there. That's what I am pushing through so the zipper can go through all that. But you got to keep your fingers away. You don't want them going under the zipper. Okay, let's pull another pin out. Okay, right here there's a seam, so that's going to be pretty heavy to go through. Ooh. You can probably hear it grinding. There we go, we got through it. Let me straighten this out a little bit. I'm sorry, this is really hard to hold, so I'm hoping my thumb and finger and arm are not getting too much in the way. Now this is going to be in the way again. So now that I've got the pins out of the way, I'm going to take this and slide it back down to the bottom. That way it won't get in the way of the machine or where we're sewing. Okay, now, right here's the top of the pocket again. That's where that material is super, super thick. So we're going to have to make sure we get through all of that. You'll probably hear it grinding. I think my, oh, here we go. Okay, now here's the top of the pocket. Oh, went right through it. Good. Keep going up this way. Okay, we're getting fairly close to where the neckline is. Got about 2-3 inches to go. Let me pull this pin out. Let me get this as flat as I can. Very thick. I'm having to pull on it to get it to go through. Okay, now, here again, we're right up here at the top. We've got to go between two of those brass teeth. So you're going to have to go very slow. Let your machine find the between part. So here we go. Let's get this slow. Do you hear that? That was right beside a tooth. I'm going to go all the way up. Now, I am going to back stitch. And I'm going to go forward again. That'll give that 3 layers of enforcement. We'll cut our thread. Lift up the presser foot. Let's see if we can get that out of there. There we go. Now, I think you can see this. This is up by the neck. This is the reinforcing flap on the back of the zipper. There's the front. Went through everything all the way down. Okay, now I'm going to pause this for a minute and I'm going to go back like I did the other time, and about 1/4 inch over from where we just top stitched, I'm going to top stitch it again. As soon as I'm done with that, I'll be right back to show you what we've got. Okay, so we've got this all sewed in. I see a couple threads I need to trim off. Let me do that real quick. I want to make sure that looks neat and clean. I have reinforced both sides up around the neck, just like I showed you when I was filming just a few minutes ago. And now, down here at the bottom, we made sure that both sides were even. Now I can put the little tab inside the zipper, slide it down. See, that's the protective part that goes inside. And look at that. Let me move my camera over here so you can see the whole thing. Hold on just a second. So I'm going to move this around so you can see. There's the entire zipper, all the way up to the neck. So this should hold up really good for him. It should not break quite as easily. And it should keep him nice and warm, since this is a good quality coat to start with. So I hope you liked seeing that. Let me turn this around this way so you can see it long ways. There we go. Now you can see most of it. And I hope you like this. This will give you an idea of what you can do. Don't throw these coats away. All you have to do is fix the zipper. Talk to you later. Bye.